Good afternoon. Welcome to the University of Leicester main event. I hope you've enjoyed the session so far. The session you're in right now is a subject talk about maths. So we've got with us Stephen Garrett, who's the head of school, and Frank Newman, who's the director of admissions. Stephen's going to do a presentation to tell you a little bit about what it's like to study maths at Leicester. If you've got any questions, pop them into the chat at the side, and then we'll go through those at the end. And we've also got a student here who can answer any questions. So if you want to ask any questions of our student, then they'll be able to answer some questions as well. We're going to record this, and then the session will be sent out next week, so you can have a look at the recording if you miss any part of it. And now I'll pass over to Stephen.
Thank you very much, Liz. Thanks for that kind introduction. So yeah, I'm Stephen Garrett. I'm Professor Stephen Garrett, head of school here within the School of Mathematics and Actuarial Science at Leicester. So I'm going to spend some time talking about my school, and then there's, as we've said before, there's an opportunity for questions of me, of the admissions tutor, and a student afterwards. So before I talk about the school, let me just tell you a little bit about what I think are the headline things about the university. Possibly you've heard lots of these things already today, but let me point out what I think are the highlights for you. So we are, according to the Times Higher Education World Rankings 2021, in the top 25 best UK universities. So that sets out our nation-leading standard here. Employability within Leicester as a university, and the school in particular, is a huge thing for us, and I'll dwell a little bit on that, about how the school reacts to employability and prepares you for the world of work a bit later on. But that's a key feature of the university as a whole. Now, Leicester is the third most affordable city. Now, don't think that makes Leicester sound a horrible place. Leicester is not a horrible place. The point is that Leicester is actually quite a small city, and that's why it's affordable. It's not like London, Birmingham, Manchester, of course. It is a small city that is a pleasant and affordable place to live in. In addition, we as a university are 21st in the world for our approach to sustainability. So green issues, of course, are hugely important, and the university is a world leader in that. Now, finally, why Leicester as an institution? The Students' Union has been voted in the top 20 in the country. Now, student unions, I don't know if you know what they do, but a key thing that I see the Student Union doing day in, day out is representing students in the decisions that people like me, the managers and leaders of the university, make. So I see the Student Union fighting for for us to put students at the centre of every decision we make, and they do that very well indeed. So I'm not surprised to see them voted the top 20 in the country. So let's move away from the university in the broad sense, and move over to the School of Mathematics and Actuarial Science. So this talk is particularly around the mathematics options. There's a different talk that deals with actuarial science, but I'll talk a little bit about that in what we do for the next few minutes. So the world needs mathematicians, and I'm sure, given you're interested in studying for a degree in mathematics, you know that already. But what is it that the world wants from mathematicians? Well, the world knows that mathematicians are great at problem solving. They know that mathematicians are great at different types of thinking: critical thinking, logical thinking, structural thinking, creative thinking. Mathematicians are thinkers, of course, and they do that very well. Now, mathematicians demonstrate independence, they demonstrate perseverance. It's a difficult subject, I'm sure you know that. To do mathematics is to accept a challenge, and I'm sure you guys are there to relish the challenge that will be ahead of you. Now, employers know that. Employers know that because you've embraced this challenge and you will go off and get a good degree, it means that you've got perseverance, and that is a key thing that employers are looking for going forwards. Also, mathematics is a very complicated subject. Now, what mathematicians need to do then is to present and explain their ideas with great clarity. So the presentation skills that you will learn within a mathematics degree are hugely valued by employers. Now, even though mathematicians can be independent, they're also great at teamwork as well, and employers know that for sure. So that's why the world needs mathematicians. That's what the world thinks mathematicians are good at. And I would say that was indeed true. Now, if we look at the career prospects for mathematicians, they are indeed very good for exactly the slide that we had before. So if we just look at where our graduates have gone recently here from Leicester, we've got students in technological research and development, we've got students enter the actuarial world, not necessarily from the maths with AXI degree, but it is always an option, as is all of accountancy and finance for maths graduates. We have students move over to engineering, move to computer science, because programming, of course, is a key part of being a mathematician. Teaching, the world needs more brilliant teachers in mathematics, and many of our students, I'm proud to say, go off and do that. Statistics and data analysis. Now, those four words there betray a huge variety of opportunities that mathematicians have. The world now is data driven, as I'm sure you're well aware. Now, mathematicians have a clear voice in that, and a clear role to play going forwards in driving that new world. So we have placed many of our graduates in that very broad sector of data analysis. We place students in different levels of government as well, civil service. We've got people gone on to GCSQ, Met Office, for example. Also, some of our students stick around and pursue an academic career. You know, they become the next generation of people like me and Frank. So we train up many PhD students who have graduated from here as well. Others, you know, much like the first point, technological R&D, others decide a research career is for them, but they wish to do it within an industrial setting. So huge variety of opportunities for mathematicians. All of those areas have been represented within our graduates over recent years. So we sort of covered why study maths, but why study maths in particular here at the University of Leicester? Well, first and foremost, we are a small and friendly community. Now, what that means is that we know every single student. We take in only about 100 or so undergraduates across all of our degrees every single year. So compare that to some of the larger Russell Group institutions. We are indeed quite small, so we can do a lot of interesting things around skill development. So the key areas, the three key areas that we do in our degrees are rigor. Of course, mathematics is a rigorous subject. You will all emerge as a kick-ass mathematician, of course. But in addition to that, we develop your creativity, innovative solution of problems. So we do that within the degree. And because we're small, we can actually polish you and your skill set to enable you to go off with great employability skills. So rigor, creativity, and employability all follow from the fact you're doing a maths degree in our small and friendly community. Now, a high level of employability is indeed developed within our Leicester graduates. 94%, like the university stat, that's reflected in our stats as well. So the vast majority of our students are doing exactly what they wanted to do within a few months of graduation. Now, our employability isn't just about what we teach you here at Leicester and help you develop your skills. It also reflects our interactions with UK companies. I'll talk a little bit about this in some coming slides, but we work closely with a lot of employers, and that gives you many opportunities to do different projects working in partnership with employers, or it enables you to go off and have a year in industry, for example. So our small and friendly approach means that we can link you as individuals to the network of employers that we operate within. We are a research-intensive university, so you will be taught by world-leading mathematicians. Myself and Frank and many of the other academics you will interact with during this open day and then off the holiday process, you will see that we are all leading mathematicians. We are the real deal, as it were, and that reflects that we are a research-intensive university. So why else come to Leicester and this school? Well, it's not just about academic stuff. It's about looking out for each other as well. So the support you get within the school that we have here is really focused on the individual, as I keep saying, and that really helps us to have an innovative, can't say the word right now, and engaging pastoral support. So I'll talk about the family system in a bit. We sort of have a support network for students that involves other students as well as staff members. Now, finally, and I'll pick this up in a little while as well on another slide, there is a great opportunity for molding your degree to be whatever you want it to be. So I appreciate many of you will come to university knowing you want a degree in mathematics, but not really understanding the huge variety of maths there is. Now, once you've established your interest and skills, you'll be able to flexibly create your degree ahead of you through the flexible programs that we have on offer here. So a little bit more details now about who we are. Well, as I said, we're a small community. We have about 450 undergrads at any one point within the university. That's reflecting 100-ish, 100 plus intake every year. In addition, we have about 80 MSc students at any one point as well. So that's the key sort of student body within the domestic campus over here. In addition to that, the university has got a footprint, an actual bricks and mortar campus in China. Now we look after students over there as well. Now at the moment there's around 120, maybe a little bit more of that, Chinese students studying BSc mathematics. So that creates opportunities for you guys once COVID is gone for exchange visits, but actually it widens our community, and we've all got very used to doing digital things, and indeed the students that we have over in Panjin actually can be part of our digital community as well. So back to campus, to home as it were, in addition to those students undergraduate or postgraduate taught, we also have around 65 PhD students. So these are students that are doing research work with us as academics. You'll see them out and about, of course, but you'll also see them often in your tutorial sessions. So we give PhD students the opportunity to interact with you as an undergraduate, to help them develop their skills and actually to help you develop your skills as well. Sometimes the person is best placed to help you is the person that has studied this only recently, and that's at the basis of our kind of family support system we have here. So who are the staff? Well, we're a relatively small school, as I keep saying. We've got about 40 academic staff, and in that 40 is the administrative team as well that keep the show on the road day in, day out. Now, I said before, we are a research intensive university and a research intensive school, and that reflects the grouping of those, say, 30 academic staff that we have. We have one group, pure mathematicians. Frank, you'll meet in a minute. Frank is a pure mathematician. The pure group are world-leading experts in algebra, geometry, and topology. Then there's the applied mathematics group. We've also opened this ADAM, as it's written there, AI Data Analysis and Modelling. So this is a centre, a university-wide centre hosted within our school. And that reflects that Applied Maths and ADAM have got particular expertise in mathematical modelling, data analytics, and artificial intelligence. In addition, we have the AXI group. Now, these academics are not research active in the sense that myself and Frank are, but these are professionals. So these are qualified actuaries that have been out there in the private sector, and they've come back. And those academics will have a role to play in your degree, even if you don't decide to do maths or actuarial science. There's multiple options that reflect actuarial science and financial mathematics that those professional practitioners teach, and also they push forwards our employability agenda as well. So in addition to the research that we do, we have a lot of industrial experience as well, either because people used to be in industry or that their research brings them in contact with industrial problems. So that kind of academic research and industrial research really does come together here, and that enables us to provide a really rich opportunity for you to engage with industry. So as well as being excellent researchers, the community here is full of excellent teachers. All of us are fellows or senior fellows of the Higher Education Academy of the UK. One of us is a national teaching fellow as well, which is a national recognised status as being a brilliant teacher. And incidentally, last year, a head of actuarial science won lecturer of the year within the university, and also one of our students won graduating student of the year in 2019 as well. So we, as an educational community, are loud and proud about that across the university and the country. So this is just to reflect a little bit about our profiles outside. So Frank and I are here today to talk to you, and this is just a snapshot of the kind of stuff that we do. So Frank, for example, that's the yellow pages book cover in the middle. Frank has edited a world-leading pure mathematics document, and that was published in 2018 to reflect a meeting that happened here. So we really are at the centre of mathematics here at Leicester. In addition, the books on the outside are books that I've written. So this reflects the fact that the teaching that I've done here at Leicester has led to books which go out and become international standards that are used around the world. So you really are interacting with the real deal here at the University of Leicester. So our courses, I think you probably know this anyway because you're looking at the UCAS forms, but you'll know that we have on offer BSc and MMath in mathematics, Maths with AI, Maths with Enterprise. We also have a route to the BSc Mathematics via a foundation year as well, if your A-levels don't reflect the requirements that we have. Now, all of those have year abroad options, either in the USA or Europe, and with industry options as well. And I'll talk about the with industry in a little while. In addition, we have Maths with Actuarial Science, and that also has a with industry option. So those degrees pretty much have a common first year. So if you're unsure what degree you want to tick now on the UCAS application, the advice is it doesn't really matter. At any point until the start of the second year, you're reasonably free to switch between a different degree. So don't worry too much about the precise choice right now. So what do our degree structures look like? Well, it depends whether you're on a 3-year BSc or a 4-year MMath degree. In any way, the first year is going to be common, as I said, to most of the programs here. And that the first year is really aimed at making sure that no matter what background you come from, you enter the second year at a fixed point. So it brings everyone to the same level. So the first year is about the fundamentals of mathematics and getting everyone up to speed on what it is to be a mathematician, irrespective of the route you take after that. So about 90 credits, each module's 15 credits, so 90 of them are core, so you have to do them, and 30, so 2 modules you have the choice on which thing you might want to sample within the first year. Then we move to the second year. Now, if you're doing an undergrad, 3 undergrad, that counts for 40% of your final degree. If you're doing the 4-year, it counts for 20%. So the second year suddenly gets serious. It counts towards your degree. Now, you see there 75 credits of core material, 45 of optional. So now you start to see your ability to switch to mold your degree and point it in the direction that you think you might want to specialize in. And that continues in the third year as well. So in the third year, there's, in a sense, the subjects you study are entirely up to you by this point. You have to do a project, but you can do a project in whatever area you want, whether it be a business project or a sort of a mathematics project with one of our academics here. So you get to pick the topic, and also the modules that you have to do are entirely optional. So you can pick any modules you want from the vast array on offer. So this really, the third year is about your specialism. If you choose to stick around for the 4th year, it's about that deeper, further specialism as well. And there's a project represented in your 4th and final year at that stage. So I keep talking about flexibility and different paths you can take through the BSc Maths degree. Now, what do those paths look like? Well, you could choose to be a pure mathematician, and you could take options that reflect that path. An applied mathematician is equally valid as well. We have many applied mathematicians here, and you can drive through a particular path with applied mathematics in mind. Similarly, data analysis, financial maths, actuarial science. Even if you're not on the Maths with AXI degree, you can take many AXI options if you wish. Or you could build your own path. So I appreciate you may not want to be a pure mathematician or applied mathematician. You might want to be a bit of both, and that's perfectly valid. Obviously, there's some prerequisites to worry about here, but we're here to advise you on which path to take, whether you want to follow a particular path or pick and choose and mold your sort of unique take on mathematics. We're here to help you navigate that through our flexible degrees. So, supporting you. By support, we mean 2 things. One is the academic support, of course, and the other thing is that sort of personal tutor support, that pastoral support. So given we're a small and friendly school, both of those aspects of support are really important to us, and we will know you, as I keep saying, as an individual. So the moment you arrive, you'll be allocated a personal tutor, and that person will stay with you throughout your entire time with us. So any problems you have, the personal tutor is essentially your first port of call. Now, in addition, we have the family system I mentioned before. First year students interact with more senior undergraduate students and interact with masters and PhD students. So essentially, we've sliced the school downwards to provide support mechanisms for you, whether it be pastoral questions or academic questions. Now, as far as it goes on the academic stuff, we have lectures, of course, and online materials and all these things that you can ask questions about if you wish after my presentation. But we also have many opportunities for small group tutorials and individual tutorials with the module leaders, should you wish to take them up. So that's academic support. In addition, when I took over as head of school 3 years ago, we launched the Student Staff Council. So this is a mechanism by which students are put at the centre of the decisions we make within the school. So on a termly basis, me and the Director of Learning and Teaching and the Director of Student Support sit in a room with student representation, and we actually can have open, honest discussions with the students and make immediate decisions to ensure that your voice is there in directing the way in which we evolve our school going forwards. Now, the personal tutor, I said, is the first port of call for that kind of pastoral question. Now, sometimes and often your personal tutor can help you there and then, but sometimes the personal tutor can't. And then what we would do is introduce you to the vast array of support that we have throughout the school and broadly, more broadly, the university. So a huge amount of support available through multiple routes within the university. And that is another key feature, I would say, of the University of Leicester. So employability, this, as I said, is front and centre. Creativity, rigour, employability are the things that we want to develop within our graduates. So how do we do that? Well, we have a dedicated employability tutor within the school, and that tutor works closely with the employability team within the college. In addition, we have weekly employability sessions. So those are practical skills that students want to gain. You know, how do I write an application? Can you give me some advice on gaining some industrial experience? So these sessions happen and it's an open door. Students can come in and ask the person there anything they want, in addition, of course, to asking their personal tutor. Now, as far as skill development goes, there's explicit employability modules in year 2, but also we don't just assume that all the employability skills will be gained through that mechanism. Actually, what I do as head of school is to encourage all staff to embed employability in every single thing we do. So you could be in a lecture on hardcore pure mathematics, for example, and you might think, well, I'm not developing employability skills here, but actually you are, because what the lecturer is actually doing is making sure that everyone in the room is engaging, you know, gives those quiet students the opportunity to speak out and therefore grow confidence. So it's little things like this that we have a constant attention on that really do help us develop the employability of our students and therefore graduates. Now, with industry, as I said before, is an option that you can take between the second year and third year of your degree. So you could spend a year out in industry as part of your degree. I would encourage all students to consider that carefully, because the students I've seen go off and come back are changed people. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, particularly if you've got a career in mind that you want to seek on graduation. It's a really good idea and opportunity to spend a year actually developing a particular skill set in industry. So if you opt to do that, you can opt to do that within the second year, and that will start you on, even though you won't be on your placement until after the second year, you will have all these kind of training and support throughout the second year that will help you, A, find a placement, and B, prepare you for hitting the world of work for that year when you get there. So opportunities for employability and broader opportunities. In addition to the year abroad, the year in industry, we have a year abroad as well. So many students take up this opportunity either to spend a year in the US, and they do that as actually their second year of a 3-year degree is done in the US. The module marks they gain there get moved over into their degree. Alternatively, you could spend a year in Europe. Now, given the language differences and those kind of challenges, that year in Europe is an additional year. So that would be a 4-year degree with a year in Europe. You have to take your studies seriously there, of course, and study all the maths at those institutions. But crucially, it's more about a cultural exchange and you kind of growing as an individual. So year in industry we've spoken about. Now, where have our students gone within a year in industry? Well, Deloitte, Weatherford, GCSQ, KPMG, Sony, there's a list there of big name employers that our students have successfully been placed at over the years, as well as a wide range of SMEs around the country. Now, interactions with those companies aren't just limited to the students that have the year in industry. The projects that you do either in year 3 or year 4 could well be, if you opt to do this, business focused. So what that does is it gives you an opportunity to work with an academic supervisor on a problem that one of these employers has posed, and that will give you the opportunity to develop skills that mathematicians need out there in the real world, working closely with a leading academic and an industrial sponsor, essentially. So great opportunities for engagement with employers, even if you don't opt for the year in industry. So what have our students said? Well, 2 comments here, Philippa and Leon. Philippa commented that actually that careers advice that we gave and that push on employability was a real thing. And she sees the value in that now that she's got a job and she is enjoying the world of work because she was well prepared for it. Leon wants us to highlight the fact that actually that academic support has been wonderful here at Leicester. And again, I think that reflects the fact that we're a small and friendly school and we're able to look after you and the particular needs that you have. You're not just one of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. We really will know you as an individual here. So how do you apply? Well, you'll know about UCAS, of course. If you wish to apply, then do so. Click whatever program you think is best suited to you. But as I said before, it doesn't really matter because our flexible degrees mean once you're here, you can move between them. Our standard entry requirement for all courses, all of our BScs and MMaths is a BB, with mathematics appearing amongst those 3. If you wish to explore more, then in the new year, the new calendar year, we'll be having offer holder days. So these are for students that have actually confirmed that they wish to apply to us. You then have the opportunity to come back and talk in detail to see whether you wish to accept an offer that you might get. If, say, you do accept the offer and you commit to come here, then we don't just, wave goodbye and say, see you in October. What we do is once it's absolutely certain you're coming here, so once your A-levels have been announced, we will contact you there and then and start to prep you for that transition from school to university, because that is a big jump, both socially and academically. So we want to ease your path, and that will start probably the month before you actually join us. You'll be contacted and given some work to do and contact points to make sure you're comfortable with the transition. So citizens of change, this is something that you would have probably seen a lot today in the university presentations, but it is a real thing for us within the school as well. So we really do want our graduates and our students to be citizens of change. So I guess a question is, what do we look for in our students? What should you reflect in your personal statements? Well, actually, what we want to see is people with the potential to thrive with responsibility and leadership when they graduate. We want to see people that have the ability to communicate with us now, but actually have the potential to be outstanding communicators when they leave, because that's how we change the world, by communicating with each other. We are a small and friendly community, therefore we want everyone to be getting along. We want people that treat people with respect within our community. The world is uncertain, it always has been, and I think it feels like it is more than ever. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but the world is an uncertain place, always has been. We want people we want people to manage that uncertainty and actually thrive in an uncertain environment. And part of that is having resilience. As I said before, doing maths is tough, and you'll be constantly confronted with things that you initially may not know how to do. And that's what it is to be a mathematician, to push through that. So that resilience is a key part of what we look for in our students. And finally, we want you to graduate with the ability to solve problems. Remember the 3 points about our school: it's about mathematical rigor, it's about creativity, which is about innovative solution of problems, and it is about employability. We want our graduates to graduate with those 3 things, really fundamental to their essence. And so what we're looking for is students that have the ability to graduate with those 3 things. So that's Pretty much all from me. What I want to do is in the final slide summarise why Leicester? Well, I think Leicester's a good place because we have an excellent mix of courses. Our staff are here to help you tailor your course to meet your needs. There will not be very many of you, and that's a key point. We're a small school. We really will look at you as an individual and advise appropriately. We will develop you through our specialist degrees as a well-qualified and well-rounded mathematician, and you will be well placed to do whatever careers you want to do going forwards. Whatever sector, whether it's out there in the private sector, whether you stick around in academia, it's entirely your choice, and we are there to help you get there. Also, you will be welcomed as part of a family. We have a real emphasis on small class sizes here, and that enables us to give you a particular levels of support that often is unheard of in other universities. So that's a key thing about Leicester. So how do you find out more information? Well, there's an email there, SE Admissions, Science and Engineering Admissions, for general admissions queries. Mathematics course inquiries, mathematics@le.ac.uk. That will be picked up either by Frank or myself, and there's our website as well. Listed there. So that's pretty much the final slide from me. The very final slide is just to inform you that it is our centenary year. We are a well-established university. We have been around for 100 years next year. So if you join us, you would join us in our 100th year. Now, how we were founded is a really special story. We were founded as a response, I think, to the great sacrifice that many people gave in the First World War. So our university is a monument to that sacrifice, and that really does prompt our citizens of change, identity and ethos in our 100th year. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening, and now I guess we're going to move to questions. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Stephen. That was great. That's really interesting. So I hope everybody got a lot from that. We have got a few questions, so I'll go hand over to the chat now. So the first question is, here we go. After receiving an offer, is there a taster day before beginning the course in maths?
Yes, I can pick it up. Actually, I answered it already in the chat. Thanks for the question. Yes, you will have a lot of possibilities to come on campus. Hopefully we will have taster course, offer holder days, we call them, which are basically give you more insight in your degree program, and we will have some taster lectures which reflects what we are doing. We'll get some extra information we will send you also, and there will be about 4 to 5 of those taster days. You can choose the date which is best fitting for you. Probably at the beginning they might still be virtually, or will be a mixture of virtual event and real event, so we have to see how it goes, but definitely there will be many opportunities to talk to us and in depth about your offer and also about the program. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Okay, the next question: if I applied for the M Math but don't get the grades required to enter the course, would I be able to enter the BSc instead?
Yes, I'm happy to answer that too. I think I also wrote a little sentence in the chat already. Yes, no problem at all. Our programs are, as Stephen said, very flexible. You can always go in the direction. So if you, oh yeah, I applied for M Maths and I didn't get the grades maybe in the first year, you can always change to the BSc. Also in the other direction, by the way, if you start with a BSc. So it really doesn't matter too much for which degree you apply. There's a lot of chances. You can also change to Maths with Actual Science or the other way around, because our modules are very flexible. We will tell you which courses you might have to do then in the second semester extra, but there's no problem. That's actually why we have this very modular system, which is very unique, I think, for us, that you have a chance to change in the course, and definitely you can go from M Maths to BSc or the other way around.
I can add to that if I'm able to, actually. So the difference between a 3-year and a 4-year degree, it's entirely at the student's choice. So what I wouldn't want people to think is that somehow a 3-year degree is lesser than a 4-year degree. It's less time, of course, and there is a difference in the BSc versus the M-Math qualification. But an M-Math, even if you're a top performing student, isn't necessarily for everybody. So many students have a clear plan with what they want to do with their life and their careers, and actually they've established that within within the 3 years, and they think that actually going off and getting a job after 3 years is the right thing to do. Alternatively, they might want to do a very specialist master's, an MSc in something. But for those high-performing students that really want to continue studying, then an MMath is the right thing to do. But we're entirely flexible throughout, as both Frank and I said earlier. So that's what I wanted to say. A 4 years isn't for everyone, but it is there if you wish, and we can help advise you to make a choice.
One technical aspect, maybe one should mention that, of course, an MMaths is a 4-year degree, so there are some funding aspects of it. You might need, you have to pay fees for the 4th year also. On the other hand, an MMaths is basically a 4th year. It's an undergraduate degree, but it gives you kind of a master, so you can then continue if you want with a PhD, or if you want to have another master, you have all the qualifications. But for a specialized master, you would not need an MMaths. You can do an MBSc, and then if you want to do postgraduate research, you can just roll with that.
Yeah, that's true. I actually did a 4-year undergrad, so I've got an M degree as well from my days. But they were new and shiny and innovative in those days, whereas actually they're pretty normal now.
They're still shiny though.
They're still shiny, of course, yeah.
Maybe I should use the chance actually to introduce our students, which is Ritika. Hi Ritika, maybe you want to say a little bit about yourself, what are you studying, and then we pick up some more questions.
Hi everyone, I'm Ritika. I'm in my 3rd year of my BSc Maths degree, not an M-Math degree, but I've really enjoyed my time, and I think that Leicester, like they said, with the community, it's all about the skills that they give you. Like, I was a bit stuck in my 2nd year. I was like, oh, I want to apply for internships, but I spoke to my personal tutor, got directed to the careers service. They were really helpful too with like video interview help. I'm sure you'll find out about them soon enough. They're a bit scary because you're talking to a screen, but I'm sure everyone's used to that by now. Through that, I think that the uni's really encouraging of what you want to do. Like, even if it's not necessarily pure maths, they want to encourage you to do what you want to do. So from that, I applied for an internship at Deloitte. I did that just the summer past, virtually, of course, because of coronavirus. And then after that, they offered me a job on, so I'll be starting there next September. So I think that without the university giving me the support for the video interviews specifically, I would not have been able to do that, because they really are very stressful things to do. So I think they've been supportive in all that aspect. And I think the family system is also really good, because I've been a peer mentor for the last 2 years. And I remember in my 1st year, obviously in a lecture, you can be a bit intimidated to ask a question just because there's so many people. But then when you're in a smaller group, you feel so much more comfortable to ask any question. So I think that's a really good thing, is the feedback sessions.
Great, thanks very much. Okay, we've got another question, so I'll ask this one. What is the ratio of workload and lectures to independent study per week or each term? I suppose it's a bit different at the moment, but yeah, typically.
I can go for that if you want. It's difficult to say, because it depends on the year in which you're studying. So a key thing about university is that it is a transition from school to the world of work. So in a sense, it's the transition from essentially being told what to do and sort of spoon-fed, for want of a better phrase, your knowledge, to the world of work, when you're meant to be an entirely independent thinker and developer of skills. So what we do within our degrees, and this is true of all degrees, is we kind of balance it to accommodate that. So the contact time you have with us in the 1st year will be, I don't know, it's difficult to know precisely, but I would guess something like 20 hours a week. That is, lectures, tutorials, maybe even more than that, 25. Lectures, tutorials, actually interactions with staff members. Now, the rest of your time then is independent study. How much you put into that is entirely up to you. 1st year students don't tend to put that much in until just before the exams, but then they learn. But then the 2nd year, that kind of interaction goes down a bit to give you even more scope to develop your independent learning, independent thinking. So, and then 3rd year, 4th year, it sort of steps down even more. So hopefully that answers the question. Does that reflect the truth of what you saw, Ritika?
I would definitely say that's what it was, because I remember in 1st year we had the most contact hours, but I think that's because to make the transition as smooth as possible, you don't want to go from 24/7 contact with teachers to absolutely nothing at A-level. So I think that was helpful in the transition. And then as it decreased, you get more used to it. So like if suddenly in 1st year we had no personal tutor sessions, I think everyone would be quite stressed out. But I think the way that it decreases over time, you sort of learn to be more independent, and that you need to take on that time and make sure you get the work done.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, the other thing to say there is that even if, say, there were 24 hours and 25 hours a week in the first year contact time, that isn't your quota, as it were. You know, it isn't limited to that. If you want to see an academic, if you want to have a particular chat with a lecturer on a certain module, you can. We have an open door policy here at the university. So in principle, you can email and you can say, hey, I really want to talk to you. And the academic will say, yeah, of course, I'll see you at so-and-so and so-and-so time. So we're there for as much as you need us to be there, but that kind of formal interaction, that timetable interaction, definitely steps down as you go through your degree.
And I think what is very good about Leicester is that we are a middle-sized university, and so we really know you. So you're not some anonymous student in a big cohort like in some big universities where you get really, the lecturers might not know you. We will know you personally, and we know your names, and we will use that name when we talk to you, and you will feel it, really have the feeling you're part of it. And we have a very nice campus. Yeah, I know in the moment it's difficult to see it virtually, but I hope that if you get an offer, that if you apply to us, that you have a chance to see our campus. I'm quite confident that's going to happen. And in fact, we even have some campus tours right now, which I think you can book. But we will have more on that in the summer as soon as hopefully this pandemic is gone. And then we will really like to welcome you for one of our offer holder days.
Okay, lovely. There aren't any other questions. So unless anybody else has got anything else they want to add, I don't know if Ritika, you've got anything else you want to tell us about Leicester, then we've got, and there's another opportunity for you to ask questions over on the chat, and I'll put that in the chat if you want to click that link to go through to that, but you'll be able to ask more questions I think it's Frank, isn't it? You're going to be on that chat, aren't you?
Parallel to this one, so I have the window open to the Unibody chat, and so if you can even send direct message even if the time after it finishes, the window finishes at 2, but you have a chance to send us direct messages, not just to me but also to Julia, who's there, a first year lecturer who can tell you anything about the first year, which is always helpful, I guess, if you want to come to the university. And there are some of our students as well who will be able to answer questions. You can send us direct messages and we'll be happy to answer them even later. I mean, sometimes I know you are in some event and then, oh, I wanted to ask this important question, I completely forget about it. No problem, just send us an email and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, if I can add a little bit about the students' point of view, I remember you saying that it was affordable, which by that it doesn't mean horrible whatsoever. Because I remember my first day when I moved in, my sister came with me and she's like 8 years older than me, and she went to a uni in London and she was like, "Is this your room? I paid double this amount and my room was half the size of yours and horrible." And I had a shared bathroom with like 10 people, and I literally had to share with one other person. I was in Digby accommodation. Like, the accommodation is great, and it's also an OB, which is just so beautiful. And it doesn't, like, most uni accommodation is not surrounded by such nice areas. Like, if you look at the botanical gardens, they're so lovely. Even like the campus itself, I know that I've spent a lot of time in that library, but it's really good for group work as well because you can book out the group study rooms. So I think definitely take advantage of all of that.
Ritika, are you involved in Students' Society, Math Society, by any chance? Or
I was the president of Math Society in my second year. I'm no longer the president, but that was really enjoyable because it was nice to organise events. We had events like pizza nights, but they were like revision and food nights. So we had a break in the middle where we had dominoes. But before that, we told first years to give us questions in advance, so then we could prepare them and then try and go through the solution with them. Because I think it was sometimes quite handy, like I said before, when it's someone who's done it so recently, then they understand the way that you've been taught and that sort of thing. So that was quite helpful for the first years last year.
Yeah, and we also have this, probably I've heard about this peer support by students from later years, especially for first year students, is an offer. You can go there, there's basically a room reserved. In the moment this is all virtual, but then normally it will be a room where you can go and ask any kind of questions. They will not solve your homework problems, but they might give you some ideas of what you should do, how to study, because it's always a way to organize yourself at the beginning, especially when you come from school, which is a transition. And I think this helps a lot. I know you might have done it yourself, Ritika, or you have been to some.
I was a peer support and peer mentor last year and this year as well. And I think it's quite interesting, like just the sort of questions they ask, like how to stay organized. Like I remember I just like brought in one of my files once and I was like, this is how I take my notes, like this is how I organize myself. And they're always quite interested in that. In the peer mentor side of thing, that's like in the family system. So I know that a lot of we made like a WhatsApp group chat, and then sometimes when people were struggling with something, they might message me to ask about like, oh, how do I prove this? How do I do that? And then as long as I have time, which most of the time I'll make time, I can answer that question for you.
I should maybe also, because there was another question in the Unibuddy chat, maybe it's interesting for others who asked me, applicant asked me, well, do we need to buy extra textbooks? Do we need to buy, software and stuff? So the answer is actually no. You will get a lot of the material online anyway. You have lecture notes, typed lecture notes, slides. We have a website for each module where you have all the information about it. And there might be some books to read, and we will offer you these books as ebooks through the library. So we are very keen on that you use our library, which has actually fantastic working places as well for students who can book a room if you want to discuss with others or just work on your own there. I think it's a great library. And we have a vast list of books online, which you can download as Leicester student to your laptop and use them. And we incorporate them in our modules. And the other thing is, you don't need to buy expensive software. All the software you will need, for example, for applied computational mathematics, data science, financial maths, actual science, you will get it, and you can download it again on your laptop. And so don't worry about that.
Okay, thank you very much. That's brilliant. Thank you very much, all three of you. Really, I hope everybody's found that really useful. So head over to the chat if you've got any more questions, and that's it for us now.